So what's the smart thing to do when you get paid every 2 weeks? I'm sure that you're tempted to go out with your friends on Friday night, maybe go shopping on the weekend, go for a massage at the spa, spend a few hours on Amazon looking for things that you don't really need but you kind of want and you end up ordering anyway. And then the next day when it arrives, you're like, what did I even buy? Did I need that? In today's video, let's put the CPA hat on and give you some best tips with your payday routine. I'm going to split this video into 3 sections based on your cash flow situation. And I encourage you to watch this video from beginning to end to hopefully give you some food for thought in terms of how to manage your money. So let's start with part 1 or stage 1. I recently read a stat that said that 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck with less than $1,000 in savings. So if you have debts to pay off, very little in savings, or you resonated with what I just said, then here's what we need to do. The first thing you want to do is you want to allocate that money to your necessities, specifically your living costs, rent, utilities, and grocery bills. So let's say you make $3,000 a month, so every paycheck you get $1,500. Then what you want to do is you want to take your total fixed necessity amount, so say that's $2,500 in this scenario, divide that by half, so every paycheck move $1,250 to an account that's just going to be for your necessities. And that way you don't miss rent and you don't have to put groceries on your credit card. So when it comes to paying off your debts, I want you to pick the highest interest ones first. So these are things like credit cards. Highest interest debts, or otherwise we call bad debts, are things like credit cards. You want to make sure that you're paying those off first. And ideally your goal is to get yourself into a situation where you're paying just more than the interest, you are actually paying off the principal. If you get to a point where you've paid off the bad debt, the high interest loans, or the credit cards, then I encourage you to consider cutting up the credit cards or closing those loan accounts. Debts can also be student loans as well. So if you have a certain amount of student loan debt that you need to pay off, make sure you're allocating that amount every month and paying off more than the interest. Then make sure you're actually paying off the principal. If you have any cash left over after you've paid off your interest and your debts, then I would encourage you to exercise every discipline muscle in your body to not spend anything that you don't need to spend. I recommend going on YouTube, watching some financial minimalist videos or some no spend videos for some ideas on what people do when they're living in the no spend lifestyle. In the second financial stage, you have no bad debts, maybe some savings, and a little extra money on the side. If this sounds like you, then the first thing that I want you to do when you get paid is you want to transfer some money to your long-term savings account and do not touch. So let's say you make $5,000 a month or $2,500 every paycheck. If you can save 25 to 30% of your paycheck, I think that's a great starting point. This all goes back to the principle of paying yourself first, which I think is so important if you're in the position to be able to do this. And if you struggle with self-discipline, then I encourage you to find a way to lock that money up and don't touch it. Whatever amount you transfer to your savings account, try to push yourself really hard to get this amount as high as possible for as long as you can handle. When I was making $5,000 a month, I was saving about $2,000 a month or transferring about $1,000 to my savings account every time I got paid. After you pay yourself, then you want to set aside money for your bills and your necessities. So rent, mortgage, utilities, property tax, whatever that is. This really depends on your cost of living. I know the cost of living is rising nowadays, especially for younger people, it's harder and harder. If you can get your monthly necessities to less than 50% of what you make, I think that's already a really great starting point. After you've paid off your necessities, then you want to pay off your credit card, ideally in full. Okay, if you're at this stage financially, then I encourage you to get into a habit of paying off your card in full and not carrying on a balance. So enough of that ramble on credit cards, but after you've paid off your credit card and you've gotten to the habit of paying that thing off in full, the last stage is that you want to move money into investment accounts, or you can pay off your mortgage if you have one, or you can save up for your house. So this is more like long-term planning. So if you can move $100 or $200 to a tax sheltered account, I think that's a great decision. And the very last thing you can do is you can plan the next 2 weeks accordingly based on how much you have left and how much you're okay spending on food, activities, random stuff, maybe a couple $100 here and there on eating out, entertainment, a little bit of fun money to live life and do the things that you want to do. Now, the third stage is if you are doing well financially and you're not tight on bills and cash flow generally isn't an issue for you. Now, I'm going to use a high income earning example for this scenario, okay? A lot of people think that high earning leads to more money, but it really depends. It really depends on how good you are at managing it, really. There are people that make a lot of money every month, but are still in scenario one, right? Especially the ones that are single source of employment income. That's why we say earning it is just one bucket when it comes to money. There's also the keeping it part as well that's just as important, and also growing it. And because money is complex, you do have to do all three to do well financially. It's not like losing weight, right? Where you can lose weight if you still eat 75 grams of carbs. You can lose weight even if you don't fast. For money, in order to do well financially, you have to be good at all 3 buckets. So if you're doing comfortably financially, let's say you're making around $7,500 after tax a month. In Canada, this equates to about a $130,000 salary. You want to transfer the money to your investment accounts, or you want to pay down your mortgage. The first thing I would recommend for someone who's doing well financially is to transfer money into your investment accounts or to pay down your mortgage. Now, in theory, a person should pay off their mortgage when the cost of borrowing exceeds the potential return that they could get in the market. So if your mortgage is at 5%, and you can get 8% in the market, in theory, you should be investing. But in reality, if you would rather pay down your mortgage to help you alleviate financial stress and sleep better at night, then I think you should do that first. So this is your own choice, because some people don't like to owe other people money, especially if you're Chinese like us. Depending on how much liquidity you want, the next step would be to transfer that money into a savings account. So if you want to hold less cash, then I would move a big chunk of it to your investment account directly. If you want to hold more cash, then you go part investments, part savings account. If you don't want to invest for whatever reason, maybe you're saving up before you make an investment decision, then move the entire chunk to your savings account. Always pay yourself first if you're in the position to do so. Then you can pay off your credit card and whatever other bills come in. If you're doing well financially, you're probably treating your credit card like a debit card. Your credit card balance should be 0. You probably just use that credit card for air miles, travel rewards, points, and stuff. Ideally, in this stage, you don't have any more bad debts or high interest loans. And then the last part is the fun money. So 5 to 10% of however much you make. Go buy whatever you want with your fun money, clothes, some shoes, put some money away for vacation. If you're really frugal and you don't want to have any fun money, then you can move that 5 to 10% into your savings account or into another investment account. So recently I started rereading Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and this is a really good book. If you've never read it before, I highly recommend it. It's a very simple read, but a lot of ahas and really good takeaways. But in this book specifically, it does recommend 10% of your income to go into a play account. And there is a reason for this, because we need to have a little bit of balance in life. No matter how good you are financially, you need to have some balance in life. Otherwise, your inner spirit is just not satisfied or fulfilled. This book promotes responsible fun money, basically, that we need a little bit of fun money in our lives to feel satisfied and to feel fulfilled, and that it's good for us emotionally and spiritually to have a little bit. The key is that we're actually managing our money and not everything that we spend is going towards fun money. So I hope you guys found this video helpful today. Let me know down in the comments below whether you have any questions, aha moments, or takeaways, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time,